so welcome back. We are ready to dive into defining our goals and objectives. But before we go too far into this, I think we need to clarify a couple things. So there is a difference between vision and goal and objective. And a lot of people use these things interchangeably, but they're not necessarily. And I really want to set the foundation of what these things are, so moving forward, we're kind of on the same page, okay? So let's talk a little bit about what these things are, okay? So a vision is how you see yourself in the future. And that's a mental image of what success looks like. That's why vision boards are an amazing tool. So I have right here an excerpt from Lunch and Learn with Jules McCullough, where she relays her system for creating a vision board.
Now, first of all, vision boards are a great tool to help you clarify, concentrate, dream, get you focused on what matters to you, okay? But since we've got our kind of 4 main goals under the tackle it, I keep calling main goals, and I dibbed it tackle it yesterday. So under the tackle it circles, your vision board should kind of center around some of that. So here are some examples. And a vision board can be done with magazines and glue and a poster board. It can be done in Photoshop, Canva, Pinterest, Illustrator. You know, you choose your means. They can be done on the iPad. I'm actually doing mine in my planner this year. And in the digital planner I sell, there is a spot for the vision board. But I like to go on the web now, because I don't get many physical magazines anymore, and clip out things that are important to me. You're doing this for yourself, so copyright shouldn't be an issue as long as you're not publishing, selling, or showing the world. This is just for you, okay? But some people keep them more full of words to help them with balance, inspire, leader, all sorts of things. Some people keep them all with imagery, and they have their arrows showing them kind of what direction they're going in. Some fill them just with a bunch of different pictures that inspire them to help meet their main goals. But by doing this, you're just reaffirming what your big dream is, what your goals really are. Because what can happen when you start looking at these things and you start, looking through the web and magazines for inspiration and words that mean something to you, you may change one of those main goals. There may be something that's really calling you emotionally that, oh no, I really need to focus in on this. But don't erase the main goal that you already wrote down. Put it in one of the lower circles, so that you don't lose track of that goal, because you may come back to that at some point. And that's just a tip that Stephanie and I go back and forth and laugh. What do you call them? The idea fairies? And your husband says, take a shotgun.
Yeah, I was like,
put them in a notebook to look at later. So those main goals can become those idea fairies that are floating all around. And I have them all the time. And I'm just writing them down and coming back to them later when I revisit what I want my goals. But this should be fun.
Jim calls them squirrel moments.
Yes, that's right. I've had lots of squirrel moments over the years. But, it's just a visual reminder. Since we're all creatives, we're all visual people. And it just helps reaffirm what you want.
So here's an example of the vision board I created for myself. And my vision of my future self is that she is living on a lake house with a beautiful north-facing studio view of the lake. And she travels to teach and so on. Your vision is the center of what we do and the pinnacle for what you hope to achieve. So a goal is an ultimate result that you want to achieve over a period of time that is aligned with your vision. So for example, in order to travel and teach, my first goal is to line up 1 or more teaching gigs each year. So that would be my goal, right? Now, for objectives, objectives are those incremental targets and often follow the SMART criteria for measuring effectiveness, being specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. So that's what the SMART thing stands for. So, for example, my vision is to travel and teach. My goal is to have my first teaching gig, like one teaching gig lined up per year. But my objective is to research and contact one or more locations where I can teach each month. My objective definition is also referred to as a SMART goal and is a key step in creating the foundation that you're going to use to create your DWN list. That's your daily, weekly, monthly checklist, right? So what exactly is a SMART goal? SMART is a mnemonic device to remember what components consider when creating goals so that you are better able to keep your goals. So here are the ingredients to a SMART goal. S is for specific, which is knowing what you will do and then how you're going to do it. M is for measurable. You also hear meaningful, motivational, and so on. But it's basically how to precisely measure your goal, right? And then you've got your attainable, and you can also have achievable or actionable. And this is being able to visualize that path, being able to, it falls really in line with that vision and a little component of that vision, right? Then you have your realistic. So realistic is also can be relevant or reasonable, and this is being able to visualize those results. So you can have goals that might be unrealistic, like traveling a star, that's kind of unrealistic. So but to have something that's realistic, attainable, measurable, and specific usually all falls in the same line. Then the last one is time bound, and it's also going to be tangible or timely. And this is where you have a timeline for that specific achievement. So that's your SMART, what defines a SMART goal. When you're defining your SMART goals, it is really important. And that's because when you start to define your SMART goals, you're already thinking about the 3 time management constraints that are constantly battling to create a balance of quality of life in your art. And those time constraints are time it takes to actually do something. And time feels scarce, but everyone has the same amount, right? So we start to feel a time constraint when we don't have a handle on these other 2 constraints. So you ready for the other 2 constraints? The second constraint we have is cost, which is how much it is going to cost to achieve the SMART goal. We ask ourselves, do I need to hire someone? Would it even help if I hired someone to increase the quality of my life and my art? Would it save me time to put some money towards my goal? Those are some things that we want to consider with the cost. And the last constraint that your SMART goal really addresses is the scope. So scope is essentially what you want done within the time frame and budget that you have to achieve the quality of life that you desire. So let's put this into real terms, okay? So my goal is to line up 1 or more teaching gigs each year. So the scope is I want to get a teaching gig. The time is 1 year. The cost is not mentioned in the goal. And why? Because I didn't know if there is a cost to apply or really have a clear defined goal. So this tells me I'm already at risk of not achieving this goal, which means I need to stop and do the research in order to clearly define my goal. So a better SMART goal would be line up 1 or more teaching gigs each year within a budget allowance of $250 a year. It is also important to note that the visual of the triangle of the constraints aren't always balanced. So for example, the goal of line up 1 or more teaching gigs each year with a budget of $250, if I change that to $150 a year, this means I can't get as many teaching gigs as I'd like, which would decrease the amount of time it takes for me to do the research and set up, and decreases the scope. So my triangle will look something like this. And in reality, this is not bad, right? Because the overall vision is to teach and travel. It's important to remember that progress is being made towards that goal within the constraints that will lead to a quality life. The key is to keep moving forward and to always keep the quality of life and art in focus of your vision for every single goal. So we really kind of covered a lot in this section, and you do have some homework. Your homework is to create a vision board, define your goals, define the SMART goals, keeping in mind 3 constraints of scope, time, and cost. And then don't forget to feel free to share your vision boards and goals within the community. You never know who you're going to inspire and who might be able to help you achieve your goals. So next up, once this is complete, you'll be ready to define your monthly tasks.